All right, let me refresh my page here, make sure. Hey guys, 1 second, we'll get started here. One second, everyone. Here we go. All right, we are live. So to everyone just now joining us, please smash that like button. As you know, that's how YouTube works. The more people smash the like button, the more people will see this stream. Also share it absolutely everywhere. Good morning, Karen. I see you're the first comment in the stream. I want this stream to build up, obviously, so share this on your Twitter, your Facebook. Hey, Edwin. Keep on joining, guys. Hey, John. Hey, Beta Virus. So I won't give shout outs to everyone, but just welcome to all the new viewers who are watching us. Please continue to smash that like button. Also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Waiting for a little bit of a build up, then I'll dive right into the news because we have a lot to get to. Ty and I are out here in Michigan. Yeah, we're reporting from the hotel room, but we have been all over Michigan. So don't think we're just sitting here doing nothing or just resting. We've been working all morning preparing for this, and we've been all over the place. We've been to Grand Rapids, we've been to Detroit, we've been to Flint a couple of different times. Poor Ty's been doing the vast majority of the driving, so kudos to him for sure. There's a big, you guys, just so you guys know a little bit of the behind the scenes, there's a light on top of the camera. And just like Donald Trump, I was teasing Ty about this earlier, like just like Donald Trump, they say, don't look into the eclipse. And Donald Trump was like, oh yeah, I keep looking into this light and blinding myself. So hopefully I will not keep doing that. Again, keep smashing that like button, share this stream on your, the Avera says, stop begging for likes and subs and members. I will not stop. I will keep begging. And it's not begging. That's just how, what we have to do. We are completely independent. YouTube suppresses us. YouTube doesn't want us to be able to report independently. So we will keep asking for likes, and we will also keep delivering incredible reports to you, incredible interviews to you in a style that no one else is. The reason that we are on the ground, the reason that we are growing so much is because of you guys. You guys are so amazing, sharing our content, joining as members, liking. We just can't thank you viewers enough. But yes, we do have to remind people and ask for it, and that's okay to do. So I want to kind of give a rundown of the events that we've gone to, and then I'll go into, I don't know what I want to call today. So I heard CNN is calling today's primaries Super Tuesday 2, which is 2.0, which is kind of not a great name. And then someone else, another outlet, I think it was Politico or someone, is calling it Mini Tuesday, which that's not good either. So I don't know what to call this day, but it is another Tuesday. It is another day with several primaries. It is less or fewer. I always get those mixed up. Whatever. Fewer than half of the states are competing today than competed last week. So today we have Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, and Washington. Obviously, Michigan is the biggest delegate prize today with 125 delegates. So grumpy, I'm not grumpy, the Avera. I'm not. I'm actually really, really happy. You guys want to know why I'm so happy? Because we just got an incredible, amazing, absolutely wonderful donation from someone whose name I will keep anonymous right now, but just very, very, very generous. And that is part of the effort to get Jordan to Arizona. So that would be the next state that we cover. And Jordan got spin room access for the Democratic primary that takes place this Sunday on the 15th. So we've been telling you, we don't have funding beyond Michigan. We have been to Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, California, now Michigan, and next to come is Arizona. So thank you to this person. If you do want us to say your name, please email us and we will happily shout your name from the mountaintops, because your donation was just so incredibly generous. It's really heartwarming, and it really shows that you believe in independent media, you believe in what we're doing, and you are the reason that we're doing it. So thank you, thank you. If anyone else would like to help support and get Jordan to Arizona, please go to statuscoup.com/supportsc. Also, I want to tell you where we are. As far as memberships are concerned, let me refresh here. And yes, I'm on my computer. I will be turning it around at certain points to show you clips of what we're doing. So right now we are at 1,801 members. We need to get 100 additional members for this trip by Arizona. We were saying by the end of Michigan. It unfortunately doesn't look like that's going to happen, but that's okay. I believe in you guys. I know that for as low as $5 a month, there are tons of you out there that want to join to get the behind the scenes content. I've been taking behind the scenes videos and photos that I will upload for members. So statuscoup.com/join. We can't sugarcoat it. We need your help and support to get to Arizona. So statuscoup.com/join. And just to hit home today, we're not just going to, as I said, we're not just going to sit around the hotel room kind of hanging out here. We're not just going to go live from the hotel room. That's not why you guys sent us here. And that is true. You sent us here. We are the reason you're here. So we have plans today to go to a march to the polls, which is arranged by the Bernie campaign. Actually, a couple of March for Our Lives surrogates for Bernie, some of the co-founders are organizing this. So that is in East Lansing, I believe. We are also trying to find a results watch party, which is always a lot of fun and really, really interesting, which is what we've done on the ground every single time we've been out during this primary. So these watch parties, people gather and just watch the results come in. And in California, it was really exciting because Bernie, of course, took California. He won. The Nevada one I attended, and that was just electric. The energy in that room. Bernie won Nevada. So we'll see what happens tonight. I don't know if Bernie's going to win Michigan. So let's dive in and take a look at what is up for grabs today and what's at stake here. So we have Michigan, and keep smashing that like button. I will keep reminding you. We have Michigan here with 125 delegates at stake. The polls close at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So that is when we can expect results to come in there. And as you'll remember from 2016, Bernie won in a surprise victory against Hillary Clinton. And let me go, I was going to wait on giving those results, but let me look back in history. Let's go back in time. Let's take our time machine back to 2016. No one wants to do that. But let's actually just look at the delegate count and what happened there. So Bernie Sanders came out ahead in 2016. He got 67 delegates to Hillary Clinton's 63 delegates. So Bernie Sanders got 49.68% of the vote, while Hillary Clinton got 48.26% of the vote. So again, that boiled down to 67 delegates for Bernie Sanders and 63 delegates for Hillary Clinton. That was a surprise to everyone. That was a shock to the political system that not just revitalized Bernie's campaign, but convinced a lot of people that this revolution, this political revolution, this revolution for the people was possible, that the people did care. And we've said it here on this channel that Michigan in particular is a microcosm of the country as a whole. It's diverse. It's been impacted by trade deals. It is very representative of the country. So a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters are, of course, hoping for a victory for him here. So we'll see if we'll have another kind of surprise victory. And I say surprise because as of right now, and I'll go into a Monmouth poll that details this, Biden is showing up as being ahead, and by not a small amount ahead of Bernie Sanders here in Michigan. But we'll see. As we know, the polls don't always tell the full story. So other states, and I'll go through these a little bit more quickly, not that they're not important, but our focus is on Michigan just because there are so many delegates and because we are here. We are here in Michigan on the ground. So we've been, getting reports from people here in Michigan, and so this is what we're going to focus most of our time on. I also want to tell you that in addition to going over this, I still need to come up for a great name for today. Maybe Jordan, if you have a good name for this mini Tuesday, let me know. Jordan's good at coming up with the names of things. So on this Tuesday, now I've lost my train of thought. So I'll get back to that in a second. So we have Washington up for grabs today. 89 delegates at stake. So this state is actually interesting because they don't physically go in to cast their vote. They actually have a mail-in system. So it's interesting. Bernie Sanders, of course, won there in 2016. And in fact, he won almost three quarters of the delegates in every county there. So that will be an interesting outcome today. We also have Missouri, whose polls close at 8 p.m. Eastern time with 68 delegates at stake. Missouri was kind of a state that made news in the past few days because Bernie Sanders canceled some events that he was going to attend in Missouri in favor of Michigan. So some people took that as, he's not trying to court the black vote. What is he doing? Why is he ignoring the people of Missouri? But the reality is that Michigan is such an important state, and Bernie Sanders has said it is the most important state for his campaign. So I think, in my opinion, it is understandable why he switched gears and did more in Michigan, which we, of course, covered. Now I remember where my train of thought went. We are also going to dive into what is happening in Texas, and in particular Dallas County, and you will be shocked. I'll tell you kind of the headline is that they lost essentially 10% of the votes, and they found them on 44 thumb drives. So yeah, so there's likely to be a recount there. They're actually making that decision very, very soon, if there will be. So we'll report on that. There are also shenanigans with the California vote that we will get into as well. So reporting on a lot of things today, a lot of balls in the air, but that's okay. We will get through it all and inform you as much as possible about absolutely everything. And I know a lot of you are shocked or not shocked to hear about the lost votes in Dallas County in Texas. Also, going back to today, Mississippi is voting with 36 delegates at stake. The polls close at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Idaho up for grabs today. Delegates at stake 20. The polls close at 11 p.m. Eastern time. And North Dakota with 14 delegates at stake. The polls close at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that is what we are looking for today. Again, our focus will be on Michigan, but the other states are important as well. So we will be reporting those results from wherever we are. We will figure that out. We will be out somewhere in Michigan at some kind of results party. If you know of one, let us know. info@statuscoup.com. And we will get you those results in real time. And if Bernie Sanders comes out ahead, then we'll be in the midst of a celebratory party. But we don't know. Obviously, we can't predict the future. I would say that people on the ground here are hopeful on the Bernie Sanders side, but they're also nervous because Biden had an undeniable surge after Super Tuesday. His Super Tuesday results were unexpected, but that's the thing that we have to take into account. We will get unexpected results at times. The polls do not tell the entire story. So we don't know what will happen. We don't have a crystal ball. It is possible that Bernie Sanders will win today. I want to take a second before I get into some more news here to remind you to smash that like button. We have 400 people watching, 258 likes, so keep smashing that like button. Please take a minute to just share this stream on your Twitter, your Facebook groups. Maybe you are in some progressive Facebook groups. Just grab the link and share it. And same thing for progressive subreddits. People need to know this information. We're working hard out here, Ty behind the camera. So smash that like button, share, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Alrighty here. Let me see if there are any super chats. If super chats help us so much. I see a super chat from the man himself, Jordan. So what does Jordan say? Let's see here. Jordan says, I feel super today. Don't be Debbie Downers. Many of the polls are undersampling the youth as usual. Support us if you can. Yes, absolutely. So that's something that we will go over when I'm going to dive into the methodology of the Monmouth poll. And we'll talk about this undersampling of younger voters. And the methodology on the whole, not so great. So yeah, don't get discouraged. Get hopeful. There's still time. A lot of the Bernie Sanders campaign is actually telling people still get out there, still canvass. They are still launching canvass events in East Lansing, which is one that we're going to try to get to as well as the March to the Polls. People are still organizing in these states. So if you're in one of these states, or if you phone bank, the Bernie campaign has been telling people, and Bernie volunteers have been telling people, hop on the volunteer train. So yeah, I think a lot of people are getting discouraged where perhaps other progressives might tell you, get out there and keep fighting. So keep those super chats coming. They really help us a lot. I've been looking into the light again. I'm blinking back the dark spots in my eyes. I got to stop doing that. So again, smash that like button. I want to give you an update now on where we stand with the delegate count. So we have Joe Biden. So this is the races as a whole, at all the primary contests that have happened right now. This is where it kind of has how it shakes out at this moment. So Joe Biden right now has 670 delegates. Bernie Sanders has 574 delegates. So he's fewer than 100 delegates away. It's not, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's not great that he's that many delegates behind now, but I want to remind you that in both California and Texas, there are shenanigans. There are issues with the votes. There are people fighting within those states to get the accurate votes counted and tallied, because it's a fight for the delegates. California is still not done tallying, or they're not done counting. So more delegates are very likely to be awarded to Bernie Sanders once they finish. The issue is there are holdups. Who's surprised? Who out there is surprised that there are holdups and that not all the votes have been counted when it potentially works in Bernie Sanders' favor? I think basically no one is surprised by that. Jordan is texting me saying absentee ballot requests up 97% from 2016 as polls open on Tuesday. So this is out of the Michigan Free Press. One second here, let me open this up. So absentee ballot requests up 97% from 2016 as polls open on Tuesday. Michiganders took full advantage of new voting laws for Tuesday's presidential primary race. At the end of the day Monday, nearly 1 million people had asked for absentee ballots that anyone can choose that option to vote, or now that anyone can choose that option to vote. That represents a 97% increase over 2016. Now, can you imagine a 97% increase? That is major. That is enormous. So of that total, 804,216 people have returned their ballots, which is a 60% increase over 2016. So scrolling down here, and they talk about some people had spoiled their ballots because some of the candidates they had previously voted for had dropped out of the race. When you spoil a ballot, you essentially cancel it. So they can then cast a new vote for people who are still in the race. Let's see here. They also have changed some voting laws. Sorry, here as I scroll through this because this report is new to me. Okay, so I think that this bears good, this is a good thing for Bernie Sanders potentially, because we have the more people you have out there voting, and especially in accessible ways, I believe that the better that is for Bernie Sanders in the long run. So I think, that's dramatic. Voter participation is shameful in this country. It is absolutely horrible. We just do not have an engaged electorate. I don't want to shame anyone, but actually when I was speaking to a very nice woman yesterday, just in a brief interaction, she asked why I was in Michigan, and I said, oh, I'm a journalist and I'm here covering the primaries in Michigan. And her response was, oh, where is that? As in, where is the primary? She didn't understand that it was, the primaries, that it's, people who are registered to vote go and vote. She didn't get that. It wasn't even on her radar. And I think that speaks to a lot of Americans in America. So yeah, the increase in votes seems to be a good thing. Okay, so let's dive into this Monmouth poll next here. Let me see if there are any super chats coming. Keep them up if there are not. And also, let's get this stream seen by more and more people. People need to hear this information. 514 people watching. Thank you all. Keep it up. All right, so here we have the Monmouth poll. This reporting that I'm going to be speaking from is out of CNN. So Michigan poll, Biden holds wide lead over Sanders ahead of Tuesday's primary. Former Vice President Joe Biden leads Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders by a wide margin heading into the Tuesday contest in Michigan, according to a new poll from Monmouth University. The poll, out Monday, so yesterday, found that Biden has 51% support compared to Sanders' 36% among likely Democratic primary voters in the state, with the most delegates up for grab on Tuesday, which is today. Biden's large margin in Michigan follows his Super Tuesday victories when he regained ground after Sanders won 3 of the first 4 early contests. Monmouth notes that Michigan polls ahead of the 2016 primary were off by a large margin, overstating Hillary Clinton's support in the state by double digits. Sanders won the state by a narrow margin. So again, that can't be emphasized enough. The polls were incredibly wrong last time. They were very wrong. And that's, I think, in large part due to methodology. And we will get into the methodology. A previous New York Times Siena poll taken last October found Biden just barely leading the crowded Democratic field in Michigan. It's really weird. I always like to, as I look at these articles, these mainstream media articles, it's always crazy to me the things that you can pick out. Why are they talking about a poll from October that showed Biden in the lead? Because Bernie has been in the lead in other polls. So of course, CNN's just like, that never happened. But Bernie was never ahead in any polls. So let's pick one from October, 100 years ago. It's ridiculous. All right, so where did I leave off here? Per the Monmouth poll, so the current poll, half of the Democratic primary voters in Michigan are firmly decided, while 23% are open to a different candidate and 17% have already voted. And that's another thing that I like to point out about these polls is some people are simply, and voting in general, some people do not decide until the very last minute. So that's a lot of what happened last Super Tuesday. After Joe Biden won South Carolina, that gave him an enormous boost. And among the voters who decided last minute, a lot of them went for Joe Biden. So these last minute voters are definitely something to look out for and pay attention to, because it really plays into the media narrative. And whoever, we're here, as I said, we're here in Michigan, and having CNN on the TV, all you see are Joe Biden ads from both his campaign and his super PAC all over the place. And so the name that sticks in people's minds right now is Joe Biden, because that's what they're seeing on the mainstream media. It may as well just be a 24/7 Joe Biden ad as well on CNN itself. So both Biden and Sanders lead President Donald Trump in hypothetical general election matchups, according to the poll, with Biden leading the president by 7 percentage points and Sanders by 5 percentage points among registered voters of all parties. And they're citing other polls against this, about this matchup. A majority of Michigan voters still believe, so at 57% of Michigan voters believe that Trump will be reelected in November, while 32% think he will lose to the Democratic candidate. And even though obviously progressives are really concerned about issues like Medicare for all, it cannot be overstated how much people care about beating Trump here and across the country. That is the main issue for a lot of people, is beating Donald Trump. So when you have Bernie Sanders beats Trump in all of these polls, but the media narrative will have you believe that it's only Biden who does. Another thing to pay attention to. So the Monmouth University poll was conducted March 5th through 8th among a random statewide sample of 977 Michigan voters reached on landlines or cell phones by a live interviewer. results for the full sample have a margin of sampling error of plus or minus 3.1 percentage points. I do have to say, having a margin of error of 3.1 percentage points is not as huge as we've seen with some other polls. That does not mean the margin of error isn't, gospel. It doesn't mean that holds true. It's just with their methodology and the way that they conducted this particular poll, that is their statistic margin of error. So just keep that in mind as well. For results among the 422 registered voters who are Democrats or Democratic-leaning independents, it is plus or minus 4.8 percentage points. So with these polls, they generally have the wider group that they have polled. So that's 977 Michigan voters polled in total, but only 422 of those people are registered Democrats or Democratic-leaning independents. So this margin of error among only the 422, which is a pretty small sample size, it's pretty typical among these pollsters, these polling firms and groups, but it's low. And so we can see that the margin of error rises among this group to 4.8 percentage points. So that poll does not bode well for Bernie Sanders. And as we've talked about, the media narrative now is focused on this poll, is focused on the Monmouth poll, and in saying, oh, Biden is leading by such a wide margin that Bernie Sanders can't possibly win. He can't pull this off. We had that same narrative in 2016, and Bernie Sanders pulled it off anyway. But everything matters here. Everything matters as far as perception and narrative and what voters do. There are a lot of Bernie Sanders voters who might stay home because they think he doesn't have a chance. And voters do tend to vote for candidates they think have a chance. So this is important to think about here. Okay, so methodology of the Monmouth poll, and this is actually from the PDF itself that has all the crosstabs and things like that. I won't bore you. I could spend an hour going into this poll, but I think it's really important to kind of drive home that that the methodology is not good. So we have here, let's see. Among all registered voters, they sampled 20% in the 18 to 34 category. 25% were from the 35 to 49 age category. And older voters, so age 50 to 64, were sampled at 32%, 65 plus at 23%. So obviously older voters were sampled. Younger voters tend to be way undersampled. They don't ask enough younger voters who they're going to vote for. Well, partially because they're talking about landlines. They're talking about cell phones. Even if most younger voters obviously have cell phones and that's their main method of communication, I really know basically no one who actually answers their cell phone from an unidentified number. If it's a number I don't know, decline. And, a lot of people are declining calls because they're like, oh, that might be my student loan servicer asking why I haven't been able to pay this month, or that might be a credit card person coming after me, or a healthcare bill person coming after me. I'm not going to answer these phone calls from numbers I don't know. So their sampling methods, they need to be dramatic. I mean, we're back in like the 70s here with these draconian like landline phone calls. And now, of course, we're modern a little bit with the cell phone calls, but that's not really where the young people are. And I do believe that it is intentional, the undersampling of younger voters. Now, of course, it is absolutely true that generally older voters or older people do vote. in higher amounts than younger people. That is true. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they are undersampling younger voters. Oh my gosh, guys, I have an amazing announcement to make. Welcome, new member Harold. Yay, Harold. I'm so happy that you've joined us. We are now 98 members away from 1900. Keep it coming, guys. So Harold is about to get some incredible behind the scenes content, monthly TMI member calls with Jordan and myself. Thank you once again, Harold. You are the reason that we are doing this, that we're able to do this. Statuscoup.com/join. Join us. Okay. So we've gotten into the polls. We've maybe depressed you a little bit by saying that Joe Biden is by quite a margin up in these polls, up in the Monmouth poll in Michigan. But that's okay, because remember what happened in 2016, and I'll say it over and over again. We don't know what will happen tonight. It could be a victory. That is why there are Bernie Sanders volunteers out there right now canvassing, trying to get out the vote. They have these get out the vote efforts that are, his ground game is amazing. Joe Biden doesn't have a ground game to speak of. All he has are Democratic establishment endorsements, shenanigans at these electoral, at the voting locations and the results, and just all the Democratic establishment pulling for him in a variety of ways. But Bernie Sanders has the people. That's an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez statement. We've got people. So you can't just sit down and be depressed, as the Bernie Sanders campaign and Bernie Sanders volunteers I've spoken with have said. You have to get out there and keep trying and keep fighting. If you truly believe in this revolution doesn't come easy. They aren't going to say, okay, guys, you can have your revolution. It cuts into our profits and it's all about the people and we don't care about the people, but you can have it. No, you have to fight for a revolution. So keep it up. I mean, keep up whatever you're doing. Look to other progressive people about what they're doing. See what you can do. Obviously, I'm not an activist. I can't sit here and tell you, okay, here's how you text bank. Here's how you phone bank. Here's how you canvass. But there are people out there who can tell you those things. Voting is important. Democracy, or the pretend democracy we have right now, it's important to fight for what's right. It's important to get out the vote. So thank you again to Harold for joining. Let me hop over to the super chat before I play you this really crazy video of Joe Biden's. It's just wild. Let's see here. Looking for some super chats. I see some. $5 Canadian from Platitude Platypus. Thank you so much. Sanders needs to call himself an FDR Democrat rather than a Democratic Socialist. Whatever happens tonight, he needs to become more palatable. Yeah, I think you're right on this, honestly. The term socialist is going to be used, if Bernie Sanders gets the nomination, Trump is going to hammer home, he's a socialist. And, sorry, Jordan's texting me, so I'm making sure I'm not missing anything. So they're going to grab hold of that message. There's nothing wrong or scary about democratic socialism. We have a lot of democratic socialist things going on right now. Like, tell people, oh, do you enjoy having a firefighter come put out the fire in your house when you're in trouble and in danger? Well, that's a democratic socialist. That's a socialist thing. Do you enjoy roads? Do you enjoy having your roads plowed when it snows? Do you enjoy, people enjoy these things. They enjoy the benefits of democratic socialism, of some socialist policies that we already have. But I believe that term does scare people. So yeah, I think more linking himself to FDR is a good strategy. I agree with you there. Oh, J-Man80, $5 in the super chat. So I want to talk about this shirt. He says, nice shirt, Jen. Regardless of today, progressives must keep fighting for justice. So I'll show you my shirt a little bit here. So this was actually given to me yesterday by a Flint resident. This was actually given to me yesterday by a Flint resident. It is so, let me move my hair out of the way. It is so super cool. This resident made the shirt, and this was actually an event that took place at the Capitol Theater in Flint in 1992. So just so cool. So I'm really pleased to wear this. Ty got one as well. He got an AC/DC one. So love it, love it, love it. Yes. So thank you for the kudos on that shirt. Okay, we have some more. Hold on. Platitude platypus again, $2 Canadian. Bernie is the new FDR. He should run on that. I agree. I think that would be a good marketing strategy for him because the FDR policies that we have are good policies that people love. Totally agree. I think I saw another one. Nay, $2 in the super chat. Thanks for your work in Michigan. Sending love from Detroit. Yay, love Detroit. We're going to end up in Detroit before we leave. And of course, we're flying out from there. So Nay, Detroit is amazing. Thank you so much for the super chat. Keep the super chats coming. Keep them coming. We love them. Owen Johnson, $2 in the super chat. Just voted in Detroit. 16 candidates on the ballot. Yeah, so that's an issue that a lot of people have. So first of all, kudos again to Detroit. Awesome that you voted today, I assume, for Bernie Sanders. 16 candidates on the ballot. So the candidates that were already registered on the ballot, they don't apparently have like a mechanism for taking them off of the ballot. So that does screw things up quite a bit. Okay, so yeah, keep those super chats coming. Welcome. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. Welcome, new member Jacqueline. Yay, Jacqueline. Thank you for joining. We are now just 97 members away from 1900. Jacqueline, you're awesome. You're about to get amazing behind the scenes content. And we will definitely soon tell you when we're going to do our monthly member calls with Jordan and I, where we reveal way too much information. And by the way, we have some progress on this big story that we've been talking about. It's been in the hands of editors, out of our hands. So, but we have some updates coming soon. It is crucial. This is one of the biggest cover-ups and scandals in American history. And it has killed people. So please join, get the scoop on that, statuscoup.com/join, and soon it will be out. Yay! Grace Aldis, $5 in the super chat with a sticker. You're number one. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, so keep joining, statuscoup.com/join. Keep sharing as well. We're now up to almost 700 viewers. The more you share, the more you smash that like button, the more people see it. We need to get the word out. Keep it up. And oh my. So Jordan has just sent me a large update. Let me see here. We're reporting in live time. So this is from NBC News. It is election day in Detroit, but it doesn't look like it. As voters in Michigan's largest city started arriving at schools and community centers to vote in the state's presidential primary on Tuesday, many were greeted by, well, not very much. The area in front of polling places is typically busy and colorful on primary election day as volunteers post signs and banners for their favorite candidates and greet voters with flyers in hopes of winning last-minute support. But the lack of local races, the fact that Michigan recently changed its laws to allow voters to cast absentee ballots for any reason, and the recent drop in the number of candidates still vying for the Democratic presidential nomination left many polling places in Detroit eerily quiet. So I don't really like that report. That does not, I was excited about the dramatic increase in absentee ballots, but the fact that the polling places are eerily quiet doesn't send good signs for turnout on that end, and that worries me. That worries me for a couple of reasons. For one thing, it might be the case that people aren't turning out because Biden's not exciting to anyone. It might be the case that people aren't turning out because of fears of coronavirus. I don't know. I have not heard any reporting of that, but I think that's coming for upcoming races. That will be a big issue. but it doesn't bode well for the general election. So if we're not having good turnout, and if Joe Biden is the nominee, what's turnout going to look like against Donald Trump for the general election? I just don't know. Yes, Jordan is reminding me to remind you that smashing the like button means looking for the thumbs up button underneath the live stream. You'll see it right underneath, directly under. So smash that like button. It will turn blue once you do. We are up to 587 likes right now. J-Man says maybe people are at work. Yeah, they definitely are. But I think the issue is that compared to previous years, it's not looking quite as good. So I don't know. We will keep looking into that. Also, if you are on mobile, you're hitting the like button works slightly differently. You'll have to close out the live chat briefly, and then you'll see the like button appear. Okay, so next I'm going to show you a crazy video. This video it's just another one in a long line of insane videos coming out from Joe Biden. The words that come out of Joe Biden's mouth. Here we go. So Ty, I'm gonna turn it. 1 second here, guys. Make it. Oops, sorry. Let me restart it. Hold on, guys. 1 second, we'll play this for you. You will not believe, well, you will believe this clip because it won't surprise you at all.
So it has a lot of glare on it.
Okay.
Just bring it out just a little bit.
Hold on, guys. We'll get it to you. We're figuring out. So we're.
Just go clean it off because it has a lot of glare. The light is on it.
Yeah, sure. So while we're getting this all set up, Jordan has also texted, NBC News is reporting Michigan expects delays in primary results due to backlog of absentee ballots. Wow. So as we said, the absentee ballot submission rate kind of increased by 97%. So that is a lot. So we might not get results tonight. We're not sure what will happen, but that is what NBC News is reporting right now. One second, folks, while you're waiting, share this stream. And this clip, to set it up for you, is Joe Biden in Michigan this morning.
Just put the mic right next to it.
All right, guys, here we go. Okay, I think you get the gist here. Let me close this out. So basically, I know it was difficult for you to hear this, but so the reporting on the ground from Natasha Korecki, who is with Politico, yes. So Joe Biden was touring an auto plant in Detroit and got into an argument with a worker over guns. So this worker is clearly not a Joe Biden supporter. He's clearly not a Bernie Sanders supporter either, because he's thinking, what he's saying is, you're going to take away my Second Amendment rights. You're trying to take away my rights. And Joe Biden's like, no, I believe in the Second Amendment. I'm not going to take away your rights. Then he starts talking about AR-14s, which he meant AR-15. So Joe Biden, again, having a stumble, having a gaffe, whatever you want to call it, there. And I think concerning is that he keeps getting into arguments over people. You know, you talk about being, quote, presidential. Well, and again, I'm not a doctor, but when people are getting argumentative and making slips, they know that that's happening. So it affects them. They start to get more argumentative at times. Now, some people's personality, and I'm not reporting this about Joe Biden, I'm just saying in general about dementia or sundowning, people's personalities might change for the better, but at times they know that they're struggling, and so they get incredibly frustrated and angry. So now switching back to Joe Biden, which I am not a doctor and cannot diagnose Joe Biden, he is getting argumentative for just for random people talking to him on the campaign trail. How is he going to handle a presidency? Can he handle a presidency? He's mixing up his words all the time. Yesterday, Ty and I were at a town hall in Flint, and he did okay, except for he kept doing this to the microphone, talking away from the microphone like that, which made no sense at all. Yeah, he didn't seem to realize, like, oh, here's the microphone. You have to speak into it, which is a very basic thing. He was speaking off of a teleprompter. So there's that. He didn't really make any massive slip ups or really any slip ups at all, except for not speaking into the microphone. So there's that as well. And so we don't have to switch things back and forth too much. I'm going to move on to another Joe Biden clip that will enrage a lot of people. And after I play these clips, I'll switch back over to where I was and kind of talk about this more. But just because of the way we have to do with the camera, I think it makes more sense to just show you two more clips, and then we'll move along to what I think about it. So Joe Biden was on Lawrence O'Donnell yesterday, and as the Vice News has headlined it, it sure sounds like Joe Biden would veto Medicare for all if he were president. Imagine that. Imagine that. He's right out saying he would veto Medicare for all if he were president. Let's take a look. Okay, 1 second. Obviously, this will upset a lot of progressives, a lot of people who believe strongly in Medicare for all. Jordan is also saying that on that video, which I couldn't hear, that he would literally slap him in the face, which, wow. As I said, I couldn't make out everything that he was saying, but that is incredibly, incredibly alarming and disturbing. So going back to this clip, I'll go ahead and play it for you.
Other candidates, this kind of question, veto question. Let's flash forward. Your president, Bernie Sanders, is still active in the Senate. He manages to get Medicare for all through the Senate in some compromised version, the Elizabeth Warren version or other version. Nancy Pelosi gets a version of it through the House of Representatives. It comes to your desk. Do you veto it?
I would veto anything that delays providing the security and the certainty of health care being available now. If they got that through and by some miracle, and there was an epiphany that occurred, and some miracle occurred that said, okay, it's passed, then you got to look at the cost. I want to know, how did they find the $35 trillion? What is that doing? Is it going to significantly raise taxes on the middle class, which it will? What's going to happen? Look, my opposition isn't to the principle that you should have Medicare. I mean, everybody, health care should be a right in America. My opposition relates to whether or not, A, it's doable, two, what the cost is, and what the consequences for the rest of the budget are. How are you going to find $35 trillion over the next 10 years without having profound impacts on everything from taxes for middle class and working class people, as well as the impact on the rest of the budget?
What is going to happen to rally?
Okay, so there we have Joe Biden outright saying that he would veto Medicare for all. He, of course, couched it as saying, oh, you know, it's not that I ideologically oppose it, which, of course, he does. He was saying, oh, it's just the reality. And that's something we've been told forever. There's one more I'll play before I switch back to my other position. So 1 second here. Joe Biden also, in that same interview with Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC, said Joe Biden says he voted for the Iraq war to prevent a war from happening. What is he even talking about? So let's take a listen. Let's have a listen if I can. Where did it go? Oh, it's up here at the top. All right.
Final segment, I asked Vice President Biden if Bernie Sanders' judgment on the vote authorizing
Sorry about the internet speed.
war was better than Joe Biden's, and I asked Joe Biden what he most admires about Bernie Sanders. 2 soldiers killed yesterday in Iraq. You say that your vote on the Iraq war was based on the President Bush's representations that this wasn't about going to war. It was about presenting a clear, at least, threat to Saddam Hussein. Bernie Sanders says, I saw right through that. I was right. I knew what George Bush was up to. When we look back on it, can we say that Senator Sanders' judgment about that was better than yours?
Look, the reason I voted the way I did was to try to prevent a war from happening because, remember, the threat was to go to war. The argument was because Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. So he said that I need to be able to get the Security Council to agree to send in inspectors to put pressure on Saddam to find out whether or not he's producing nuclear weapons. And at the time, I said, that's your reason. All right, I get it. That was the rationale was that's the way to not go to war because I didn't believe he had those nuclear weapons. I didn't believe he had those weapons of mass destruction. And you may remember the debates we had after that period about when Colin said, anyway. So that was the rationale. Mm-hmm. What happened was we went in, determined that they hyped what in fact was occurring. They didn't, there was no concrete proof of what he was doing, and they still went to war. And the irony of all ironies is the first thing that Barack Obama did when we got elected, president and vice president, was turn to me and say, end the war. Not a joke. You run the deal to bring out 150,000+ combat troops from Iraq. And I did. So, you know, the idea that I took the word of a president saying that he wasn't going to go to war and this was the way to avoid going to war was, in fact, a mistake. It was a mistake. I've acknowledged that 15 years ago. But the idea that Bernie Sanders' judgment on foreign policy is superior to mine, I find I'm anxious to debate him on that question.
Final question before you go. You've known Bernie Sanders a long time. He's known you a long time.
Okay. So 1 second, we'll switch back over to where I was before. Keep smashing that like button, guys, while we get set back up here. Keep sharing on all your social channels. Keep those super chats coming. Keep those memberships coming. Statuscoup.com/join. We need your help, your support to help Jordan get to Arizona to report from the Democratic debate, which is happening. It's a CNN debate in Phoenix, Arizona. So help get Jordan there. Statuscoup.com/join. Okay. So Jordan has sent me additional dialogue, and this is reporting from CBS about what Joe Biden said. He said, this is not okay, all right? the man said, to which Biden replied, "Don't tell me that, pal, or I'm going to go out and slap you in the face." And again, that is what CBS is reporting based on that clip that we showed you. That's alarming. That is not okay. Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders was out there on the campaign trail talking about slapping people in the face? What on earth are people thinking? Propping up Joe Biden. He's clearly not okay. He's clearly not okay or fit to be president of the United States. And yet the entire Democratic establishment has coalesced around him. Just absolutely absurd. Very, very disturbing. Also pointing out that months after the war launched, Joe Biden, so going back to this clip that we just showed you of Joe Biden claiming that he voted for the Iraq war to prevent a war from happening, he walked around praising Bush for it and was clearly in support even after his vote of the Iraq war. I mean, Joe Biden is a liar. He has lied about so many different things, which we've reported on extensively here at Status Coup, but which channels like CNN, which I was watching all morning, unfortunately, I watch it so you don't have to. They don't report on these lies. They don't report on anything except for what the establishment, what their corporate overlords want them to report on. I want to take a second to see if there are any super chats. Let me scroll up, and then we will talk about this some more. Flag TKO, $2 in the super chat. Bernie keeps saying that Biden can win. Why? I'm not familiar with Bernie saying Biden can win. I think maybe what you're referring to is him saying that Democrats can win against Donald Trump. But I don't think he's running out there like, yeah, Biden can win. Biden can win. He might be saying, you know, Biden can win certain states or whatever, or lamenting that fact. But he's not out there propping up Joe Biden by any means. So thank you for the super chat so much. Also, yes, Jordan in the chat reminding people that the spin room. So you guys remember that amazing Donna Brazile moment. Jordan broke the story of Donna Brazile passing those debate questions. Donna Brazile ended up either being fired from or resigning from CNN. I can't remember. But that was because of Jordan challenging her in a way that no other journalist would. Imagine Jordan out there during this primary, challenging the Democratic establishment, challenging Joe Biden campaign staffers on the questions that no other journalist is. Help Jordan get to that spin room. He has been approved for credentials, which we have tried so hard for months to make that happen. And it finally happened. Statuscoup.com/join to get Jordan to that spin room so he can challenge the people who need to be challenged. Looking for more super chats here. Nay, $2 in the super chat. Let's stick together and get Medicare for All passed. Yes, I am a huge advocate for Medicare for All. I think it is the only thing that makes sense for a country financially, as well as it's a freaking human right to have health care. Everybody should have health care. Everyone. No questions asked. Health care. I agree, Nay. And thank you. We have 767 people watching. Keep smashing that like button. Share. Let's see here. Valorant Corsino, $1.99 in the super chat. Where did the money from those wars come from, Joe? A very, very, very great question. And a question that, you know, maybe Lawrence O'Donnell should have pressed back on, or any of the mainstream media. That's why we need Jordan out there pressing back on the establishment. Okay, I think I've got all the super chats. Oh, here we go. I don't know what this means. So Nay again, $2 in the super chat. Here's $2 to help Jordan give Biden a Brazilian. Don't really know what that's referring to.
Brazilian, do what he did to Donna Brazile.
Oh, okay. I was thinking a different angle. So Ty has pointed out that it means like a Donna Brazile treatment. Nay, I am so sorry that I am too dense that I did not get it, but thankfully Ty did. Okay. So let's talk about the clips that we just showed you. It sure sounds like Joe Biden would veto Medicare for all if he were president. I mean, what is there to say about that? We know that Joe Biden doesn't support Medicare for all, not truly. We know that he is campaigning on expanding Obamacare, same old, let's return to normal. That's all he's campaigning on. He doesn't believe in Medicare for all. He doesn't think it could ever get passed, but it can. Every other developed nation, we're the only ones who don't have Medicare for all. We're the only ones who don't have universal health care available to everyone. Other countries think we're crazy. Even conservatives in other countries think we're just nuts. Why aren't you guys covered? That's so weird. Why is it tied to your job? That's wild. They don't even believe us sometimes when we talk about the fact that we have such little coverage, little to no coverage, and of how expensive it is when people do have coverage. So it's not a surprise. The only thing that's kind of surprising is that he came out so, clearly against it. That, yeah, I would veto Medicare for all. And so just to remind you of how popular Medicare for all is, it's extremely popular. In Vermont, 73% support it. In Texas, 63% support it. In Maine, 69% support it. So even in Oklahoma, and by even, I mean that's a more conservative state, 53% support it. Virginia, 52% supported. Medicare for all has support across party lines. So when Joe Biden says it can't get passed or that he would veto it, that's Joe Biden being Joe Biden. Let's call him Normal Joe. And a return to normalcy is not what this country needs at all. We actually have to go to some events today, so I'm going to kind of speed things up a little bit here and talk about what's happening in Texas, because you guys will be real mad. You will be extremely furious as to what's going on. So as you know, Texas voted on Super Tuesday a week ago. It seems like 100 years ago, but it was just a week ago. So surprise, surprise, Dallas County missed some ballots. Just 10%. They missed 10% of the votes. Can you imagine? Texas has been declared a victory for Joe Biden. To remind you of those results as they stand right now, Joe Biden has 111 delegates out of Texas, and Bernie Sanders has 102 out of Texas. Joe Biden reportedly received 34.5% of the votes to Bernie's 30% of the votes. But lo and behold, they lost some of the ballots. They didn't count all the votes. Who's surprised? Who among you is surprised? I think no one. So this is reporting by the Texas Tribune. Dallas County asks for Super Tuesday recount after discovering it missed some ballots. In a petition filed late Friday in State District Court, the county is seeking to perform a recount of backup paper ballots. Dallas County officials are seeking a recount of the March 3rd primary results after discovering that an unknown number of ballots were not initially counted. In a petition filed late Friday in State District Court, Dallas County Election Administrator Tony Pippins-Poole said her office has discovered that ballots from 44 tabulating machines were not accounted for in the election results reported by the county on Super Tuesday. It's unclear how many ballots were missing from the county's tally of votes. The issue turned up after county officials were unable to reconcile the number of voters who checked in to cast ballots at some polling places and the number of ballots received from those sites. The tally of ballots had been compiled from flash drives that were turned into the county, and the county initially believed it had received all ballots from the 454 vote centers, Pippins-Poole said in an affidavit filed with the court. However, it was later determined that there are ballots from 44 of the precinct scanner and tabulator machines that are unaccounted for. Ballots from 44 of these scanners and machines unaccounted for. Is this incompetence? Is this malice? I don't know. I have no information to report that, but it sure is frustrating. It sure is not surprising. Like many other large counties in Texas, Dallas recently switched over to voting equipment that allows voters to fill out their ballots on electronic machines that then mark up backup paper ballots. The county is now petitioning the court to allow it to perform a recount of the paper ballots. So I won't read this entire article to you. I'll try to remember to drop it in the chat later on. It remains unclear whether a recount would alter the outcome of any race, but Donovan said that it was unlikely based on the margins and contests that were on the county ballot. Of course, we won't know that until the votes are complete, Donovan said. The good news for Dallas County is that it was not an equipment failure, it was human errors. Well, why does that matter? Whether it's equipment error or like the debacle in Iowa, or whether it's human errors, it's unacceptable errors. This is supposed to be our democracy. This is supposed to be the people of this country casting their vote in a way that will get counted because it's who they want to vote for. This is absurd. CNN should be reporting on this constantly. I haven't seen it on CNN. Apologies if they have reported it, but this is absurd. In Dallas County, 10% of votes are unaccounted for. What about the other counties? What's going on there? I don't know. All I know is that Joe Biden had a surprise victory there to the detriment of Bernie Sanders. And now we're finding out that votes from Dallas County were not counted. So that's the reporting that we have on Texas right now. We will keep you up to date. Someone yesterday mentioned, oh, why aren't you keeping, reporting on what's going on in Texas? Why aren't you reporting on what's going on in California or this place or that place? It's because we are working just nonstop out in the field. We're in Michigan. We're driving absolutely everywhere across the green earth to get to different places to report live, to do interviews. So it's really just a matter of timing, and we're just two people and we can't do it all, but we're trying. So that's why we're reporting here today. We appreciated the heads up on that. And please send us any credible information you have about any voting shenanigans, things happening in your area. Please make sure it is credible. We vet everything very, very thoroughly. Send to info@statuscoup.com. And we also have an update about California. So we'll report as things come in on Texas, just so you know, but California is having issues as well. As you know, Bernie Sanders won California Super Tuesday, and that's what a lot of progressives look to as kind of like Bernie's still in this can still happen. So California was like a shining light, but some people expected Bernie Sanders to have an even higher amount of votes. So as they stand right now, with 94% reporting, and this is according to the AP, the Associated Press, Bernie Sanders has 186 delegates out of California, and Joe Biden has 150 delegates out of California. That puts Bernie Sanders at 34% of the vote and Joe Biden at 27% of the vote. So that's all well and good, except for they're still not done counting. Why are they not done counting? And why are there other issues? So we have a freelance reporter researching for us in California. So out of California, reporting for us, digging for us, is on the ground there, figuring things out. So we care so much about the shenanigans that are going on, because it's such an important part of our strive. I always say an important part of our democracy, but the truth is we don't have a democracy, but toward our striving for a democracy. So I'm going to give you some reporting right now, and this is from Tina Desiree Berg, who is an independent journalist in California, and she is of the District 34 podcast. And you can check that out on Stitcher.com. Just search for District 34. So she's doing amazing, amazing stuff. Again, this is Tina Desiree Berg. So she tells us in a conversation that we had with her this morning. So one issue in California is that people didn't know they had to scan the printed ballot back in the machine in order for it to count. So people received this piece of paper that they were supposed to put in to have it counted, but they thought that it was like a receipt of having voted. So some people left with those, what they thought were receipts, but were actually papers that were supposed to be put back in the machine. So and then she says, when the poll workers stopped them and brought them back, someone else would be voting at the machine. Therefore, those people, like if they were stopped and were bringing their ballot, their paper back to put it back in the machine, someone else was there, so it was too late. So then the poll workers had them vote on a conditional ballot. And for those who don't understand, a conditional ballot is much, much less likely to be counted, much less likely to be counted. So that confusion led to a lot of people's votes not being counted. Another issue is that the system, the $300 million system that they had, kept crashing. I'm sure that's no surprise to you that an expensive machine that they said would make things better made things a heck of a lot worse. So the system kept crashing during voting, and the poll workers could not access the system. Therefore, voters who had their affidavits in their hands were given provisional ballots. And provisional ballots, while I believe they're slightly better than conditional ballots, I will double check that for you. I believe in the ranking, the conditional ballots are the one you do not want to vote on. So being given a provisional ballot is also less likely to be counted. So because these machines were crashing, people were given provisional ballots, and honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Tina is going to update us as more things come in. There's actually a move to kind of oust the Dean Logan, who is the elections chief for LA County. So Dean Logan, let me pull up this letter here. 1 second. People are calling for him to resign. So, dear Mr. Dean Logan, we the people of Los Angeles County, representing a wide and diverse electorate, demand your resignation because he screwed things up so badly. Numerous serious concerns by independent voters and organizations about the new VSAP voting system and the rollout of the said system were voiced to you. Despite warnings and concerns, you offered us reassurance that our concerns would be addressed and that the new system would run smoothly and get the job done. You and the project developers assured the people that everything had been thoroughly tested and in working order. But that was not the case on Election Day. Many poll workers were not adequately trained in the new technology. There weren't enough e-poll books in each voting center. Many registered voters were forced to accept provisional ballots. There were delays of upwards of 4 hours for people to vote. People were voting as late as 12:30 a.m. This resulted in many people giving up on voting in this crucial election altogether. Many paper jams were reported, and some of the machines weren't repaired during balloting, and this further delayed the process. In spite of complaints and concerns to the county, no help came. Issues were not resolved. These are serious issues that transpired, and they were also issues that people warned you about, and you failed to adequately prepare them. Instead of making the voting process easier and more accessible, your rollout of the new machines had the opposite effect. Therefore, Mr. Logan, it is time for you to resign and allow the County of Los Angeles to find a registrar of voters who can demonstrate a commitment to voter integrity, which you clearly lack. And then the letter is signed by a variety of people. Let me close this out here. So there you go. As I said, Tina Desiree Berg is going to be reporting for us. We will have more information from her, but there's a lot going on. Even though Bernie Sanders won California, there are still delegates unaccounted for. So right now it is a race in the fight for delegates out of California. And as we know, Bernie Sanders is currently behind in delegates, so it is crucial for him to get as many as he earned, which seems impossible seeing as how there are so many shenanigans going on with these elections. It's very disheartening, but that's why it's so important that we have people looking into this on the ground. If you know of anything out of your area, please email us, info@statuscoup.com, in any of the states that have already voted, or if you're hearing things, we really appreciate your tips for sure. Okay, guys, I'm going to see if there are any super chats that I missed, because I don't want to miss anyone's super chats for sure. Jay Ramahi, $4.99 in the super chat. Every Bernie supporter should show up to their Secretary of State's office in yellow vests and either demand recounts or just redo the primary entirely. I think a lot of people agree with you that if our democracy, if our elections are being stolen, people can't just let that happen. So the yellow vest movement might make its way here more fully in the United States. Let's see. Looking. Grace Aldis, $10 in the super chat. Thank you so much again, Grace. Bernie did say Joe can win. Okay. He may feel pressured to appear supportive of the Democratic Party because his followers may not vote out of spite if he loses. Also, I admire that he is always respectful. Okay. So, Grace, I believe you're saying that he said Joe can win versus Donald Trump. So yeah, I can't see him going the route of saying that no, he can't. So that makes sense. And yes, he is always respectful. It is admirable, I believe. But I also do think that especially in this upcoming debate, that he needs to come out forcefully against Joe Biden's policies, against the things that he has said, because this is a two-person race. It is time. And I know how strongly Bernie Sanders believes in his own policies and his progressivism and his democratic socialism. So he has to fight for that. He can't just let the Democratic establishment steal this at all. We also have $2 in the super chat from Anna Maxa, Democrat in hashtag Dino primary, hashtag Democrat in name only primary. Yeah, Joe Biden would accept a Republican as his running mate. So not a shocker. Scrolling more, keep those super chats coming. Guys, we have added 3 members on this live stream. We are 97 members away, and we really, really need your help. It's just as low as $5 a month, and you will get access to behind the scenes content, but you'll also be funding us reporting in the field in a way that no one else is. So please consider joining. Don't just consider it, do it. Join, statuscoup.com/join. It will be absolutely incredible. And Jordan is reporting that on Twitter, hashtag Biden's cognitive decline is trending right now. I haven't had a chance to look at that or what sparked that. I don't know if it was potentially that video that we showed you. Whatever it is, it's not a surprising hashtag, that's for sure. So I want to take a couple of questions and then we'll sign off because we have other places to be out in the field in Michigan. And again, we're here just because of you guys. Oh, I also want to remind you, if you're already a member and you want to support our in-field reporting in another way, you can do so at statuscoup.com/supportsc. And that will be amazing. So super chats or questions that you have, and then I'll go ahead and sign off. Any questions? Keep sharing our stuff. And guys, remember, we will be live, I think around 4, 5, 6 time, probably closer to 5 or 6, but this evening. So keep your eye out for us. We will alert you. We're still figuring things out because things with activists and with volunteers and things like that kind of move rapidly. Things don't always start on time or whatever. So we're figuring that out, but we will be out there in the field. Keep your eye out for us. Spread the word when you see us. $9.99 in the super chat. Ricky Mooney. Bernie Sanders supporters are more serious than he is. I'm pissed. He keeps starting a line on Joe Biden like this. Joe is a nice person. He's a friend of mine. I think he can beat Trump. WTF. Yeah, I know a lot of supporters would go harder. I think that's just not the type of person that Bernie is. And I truly think that strategically he believes, and I think so too, if Bernie goes too negative or drops the line, he's treading a fine line with the media. The media will run away with that like crazy if he starts, attacking Joe Biden. There's already this narrative that has really hurt Bernie of his supporters being so negative, which as we know is not true. Obviously there are people from every group that has people who are nasty and mean. Every single group. I've been yelled at by so many I've been called so many names by Hillary Clinton supporters and Pete Buttigieg supporters. And, it is what it is. Obviously, we don't condone any of the sexist comments that were reported or anything like that. But if you look at like Brianna Gray Joy, or Joy Gray. I always mix those up, but she's amazing. She's an incredible staffer for Bernie Sanders. But the comments that come her way and Nina Turner's way, both racist and sexist comments, are so disgusting. So why isn't MSNBC or CNN reporting on those things? So there's a fine line there. Bernie Sanders needs to stand up against Joe Biden's policies and against the harm that he will potentially do to this country. I don't think he needs to attack him as a person or go too negative, but it's a concern, and I see why people are upset. So I see you, Ricky. Okay, we're gonna sign off. Again, you can support us, statuscoup.com/join, just $5 a month. You can also support us, statuscoup.com/supportsc. Jordan emailing me a quick update here. So this is reporting from NBC, a fuller account of why we may not see results out of the Michigan primary today. Michigan expects delays in reporting the results of its primary due to the huge backlog of absentee votes. Since Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson took office last year, Michigan has expanded voting options for citizens, including giving all voters the option to vote by mail and later voter registration. That's led to the state sending off nearly 1 million absentee ballots for the 2020 primary, with more than 800,000 of them already returned. That number includes the 36,574 ballots that were already spoiled, meaning people who voted early for a candidate who has dropped out can get their vote back and they can then vote again. But under Michigan law, absentee ballots can't even be opened until Election Day morning, leading to fears of long delays before precincts can produce a final count. Current state law hasn't really caught up, said Jake Rollo, a spokesperson for Benson's office. Many jurisdictions have responded by setting up absentee voting counting boards, separate locations where poll workers and reps from each party are devoted to processing absentee ballots all day. So, yeah, it seems like we may not have results today. It's shocking and good, not good. Lori Mountain Gal Pal is telling Anat that I didn't read something. Tag me right now. I didn't see it and I apologize. So rewrite it or something. And I will try to make sure that I get that, or email us info@statuscoup.com. I'm doing my best. I really, really apologize if I missed any of them. The issue too is, guys, they don't let us scroll. They only let us scroll up so much. So if it was left at a time where I was reporting something else, then it might have gone off the screen and there's no way for me to get it back, which is really frustrating. Lori Mountain Gal Pal, now I see another super chat from you saying you never read my super chat. I really, really apologize, Lori. Email me or put it in here before I sign off, because I'm going to sign off in just a minute. Here's Reeve Barker, $2 in the super chat. Palace, so Greg Palace reports 3.3 million uncounted votes in California. That is not shocking at all and is awful. So check out Greg Palace reporting for sure. Jordan had him on the channel. Yeah, so Lori, it is not showing me. I just double checked. It is not showing me your super chats. Get those to me if you can. Zach Curtis is asking, given status quo's experience in Michigan, how can we even expect a legit election from them? I think it's going to be important to monitor everything, especially with this absentee ballot boost, which could be good for Bernie Sanders. But I'm alarmed at the low turnout, and I really want to go to a polling site and actually figure some more of this out, because I am hearing some alarming reports. But hopefully, no matter what, Bernie Sanders' margin of victory can be so, accounting for any of these errors or mistakes or whatever it is. Lori, okay, Lori, I see it now. Lori Mountain Gal Pal from a previous super chat. She said, the fact that Bernie has been saying that Biden can beat Trump in a milquetoast way. Okay, yeah, I apologize for missing that. I hadn't seen that headline, but as far as him saying that Biden can beat Trump, as I said, I don't think that he would say the opposite. I don't think he would say, no, Biden can't beat Trump, because if Biden is in fact the nominee, then that would be played in ads, So Bernie believes strongly in defeating Donald Trump. But if he says now, Joe Biden can't defeat Trump, can you imagine Trump's ads in the general election if it is indeed a matchup between Biden and Trump? Trump will play that constantly. Bernie Sanders says Biden can't beat Trump over and over and over and over. So you have to think strategically. You have to think about the fact that Bernie Sanders believes it is of the utmost importance to defeat Donald Trump as well. So, okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. We will be live later. We will be reporting later. All right, that's all I have for you. Bye-bye, guys. Love you guys bunches.